of economics, there is the principle of diminishing returns. Ukachukua ile tauli ukaitia katika maji, ikamue vile utakavyoikamua, lakini mwisho ukaikamua zaidi, itakatika ile tauli, haitoi tena maji.
Sasa ukishinda kutoka asubuhi mpaka jioni, bei ya mafuta imeongezeka, si uchipe kisima yangu.
Ruto, sack these people, otherwise serikali yako sasa hata small function like this inaanza kukaa kama iko na sura mbaya.
You serve the people of Kenya, those are your bosses, they are your employers. Dignify them by the way you address them. Even when there are challenges, remain calm and steady and address problems in a humane and humble manner.
We do not want a quarreling government. Hatutaki serikali ambayo inagombana na watu na wenyewe nini, hapana. We want to have a government that is focused. There may be differences of opinion, but we should not quarrel.
Rais anajaribu, mimi namwambia halali. Ametoka Amerika, ameenda wapi, anapambana day and night akitutafutia mazuri. Lakini mambo imekuja ni shida ya dunia nzima.
Wakati Ruto alikuwa anachukua serikali, lita moja ya mafuta ilikuwa 80. Sasa ni 250. Sasa ni 250. Tunataka mafuta iteremshwe.
Government also should look into the issue of prices of food commodities. They should lower. Another shock that I personally got this week was that when I came from Nairobi with my V8, I fueled the car. To my shock, I used to feel it at 12,000. It went to 20,000.
Pia nasikia wanataka kuongeza taxation tena. Waliongeza njusi tukakataa tukashindwa. Wanataka kuongeza tena.
Do you think even if I'm rich, I wouldn't afford it? It will be very difficult even to move, because you must think seriously before you make a move.
Urumia hii wananchi. Hii ni maasolas wale unashungulikia. Wahurumie. Na upunguze bei ya unga, upunguze bei ya maisha.
Hii shida ya mafuta si ya Kenya, ni ya dunia nzima. Na iko shida Uganda, iko Tanzania. Hii si shida ya Rais William Ruto. Sasa wanamtupia mawe mtoto ya mwenyewe. Hata huyu William Ruto kwani hapa mtoto ya mama.
And I and my brother Moses Masika Wetangula, we have made it very clear that anybody who is moving around peddling falsehoods, peddling fitina, close that shop. Funga hiyo biashara kwa sababu haitanunulika.
Our unity must matter. Tuende direction moja. Wale ambao mna biashara ya unafiki ya kusema ya kwamba ukitaka uwe mzuri lazima Musalia na Weta wasitembee pamoja, hiyo ni kazi bure. Because we are together.
We are tired with these unity rhetorics. Hamwezi kuwa mnaongea mambo ya unity before elections. Mnapigiwa kura mnamaliza mnaongea unity. Tena kura inakuja mnaongea unity. Saa hii watu hawakuli unity. Tunataka vijana wetu wa mkoa Magharibi waingie kwa jeshi, waingie kwa polisi, wamama wapewe mikopo, barabara zetu ziundwe. That is the discussion we want to put across. Tuingie kwa chama kimoja, chama cha Rais William Samoei Ruto. Sababu haizi kuwa kwamba mchana mnasema mnaunga mkono Rais William Ruto na mkirudi nyumbani mnapiga chama chake vita. That is hypocrisy.
Sisi wachache waliopigwa kiboko kule ODM hatuogopi, kwa sababu historia inaonyesha ya kwamba ukipigwa kiboko ODM your star rises. Mimi naona kila chama iko hapa, si ndio? Ingekuwa huko kwetu sasa ningekuwa nimekula kiboko.
We are going to support the government of Daktari William Samoei Ruto, kwa sababu mambo ya bottom up economic transformation agenda inatilia mkazo mambo ya ugatuzi.
Sometimes kama utembei unaweza fikiria your problems are just your problems in your village. His problems are worldwide. Kwa wale ambao wanatembea. Ukienda London mafuta ni almost 400 per liter.
Kila Mkenya ni shahuda. Mkenya wote ni shahuda katika serikali ya William Samoei Ruto, na tunataka tukisonga mbele tusonge pamoja.
Hao makatelo wameshikana, wanazunguka kila ofisi kwa sababu mimi wameshindwa na mimi, kulete porojo na propaganda. They are trying to create an artificial crisis kwa sababu tumesema KPCU ambaye ni ya wakulima ifufuliwe, kwa sababu hawa private millers wanakula mheshimiwa mara tatu. One, wanachukua wanasema 35% ni milk losses and you are not there kuangalia. Number 2, grading, ile ya AA wanasema ni ile ya chini. Number 3, wanapeana bei baya, na wakipeleka kahawa Ulaya hawasemi ni grade hii na yote wanauza bei moja, lakini sisi wanatusumbua. Mimi nimengangana na hii watu na niko tayari.
The soapbox there, of course, giving you the gauge there of the political tone and tenor of the country, the week that has been, and what we look forward to this week as well. We continue first with here with the panelist. We have Dr. James Jikalu, who's a member of Parliament for Seme. We have also Wilson Sossion, a politician. Also, we do have with us as well Dr. Makali Muli, who is a member of Parliament Kitui Central. Right, just looking at the sentiments there, and as we buckle down now to discuss some of these issues, I was just harking back to what Wilson Sossion was talking about when it came to the issues of public universities, and we have a flash of interest from public universities to private universities right now regarding the loan component. And we talked about the misunderstanding of the university model. One of the things that people have been raising concern is effective communication that is lacking from government, especially on these policies. And you're saying it has been misunderstood. From your own estimation, do you think also the government has done sufficiently good work in communicating the university funding model? Just briefly.
Yes. The funding model, this is what government did at the point of admission when there was a lot of confusion.
Just briefly, yes.
The cabinet secretary released a circular and instructed universities to admit all the students unconditionally, pending processing of both the scholarship and the loan. And in every university, a desk be open to help students directly from the universities. So I think that is the most pragmatic steps, to open up a desk so that the students can be guided on how to secure their scholarships and their loans and avoid a lot of bureaucracies, because the whole model, for those who did not support it, tried to bastardize it. Remember, we are migrating from differentiated unit cost, which was global, which was general, very discriminatory. It never catered for the households that are very poor. That's why we had so much fundraisings and students living through frustrations for their entire training at the universities, those from poor households. So I think the government has been vindicated. All the students who have been properly admitted ought to have reported at the various universities and be guided from the universities through special desks on how to process their scholarship application and how to process their loans. And since that was done, the entire process has been completely quiet, save for this news story which we have seen from Nation, that some students opted to, instead of reporting, opted to report to private universities. If you look at the fourth category of the students through the mean testing index, are those who are able to pay for themselves. They will either take the loan and pay for the education, or forfeit the loan and use their own household income to pay for their fees. In that circumstance, it is highly possible that last category of students can opt to take courses in private universities, which is okay and which is allowed.
Thank you.
Remember, we still have cohort of 170,000 students who qualified with C+ and above, 140,000 who are really admitted. And I'm sure moving forward with the improvement and streamlining of grading of examinations and moderation at NEC, which I'm so happy the Ministry of Education is the most listening administration that I've ever seen in the history of education in this country. And that is going to be recalibrated. As we move forward, all these messes will be eliminated. And Dibal, don't forget, the funding has been upped from 54 billion to 84 billion for universities. And the Higher Education Loans Board has been nearly double from 13 billion to 30 billion. And this is very significant. And this funding model will have to be implemented at the first year only. And I'm sure challenges arising from implementation will actually be dealt with and fixed. So moving forward gradually, as the new funding model takes over from the old differentiated unit cost, we will see universities getting out of financial challenges and focusing in quality teaching, quality research, and community development. We will see the children from poor households doing well from their KCSE and getting fully sponsored and fully paid for at the university. So to me, this is good news, and this is a model that was not developed over a day. It is something we discussed several months before the election, and we agreed we must reform the university funding and we must bring our universities to be competitive globally.
Let me take it. Dibal. The problem with the Kenya Kwanza government is one. They have to stop campaigning, creating perceptions, making things look good, and start doing things. That is problem number one. Problem number two, they have to listen to professionals and technical people. I want to demonstrate the three areas we are bothered with now: education, health, economy, and this, how the two things I've said are a problem. Let's look at education. Very nice. The minister comes, the minister talks. This differentiated unit cost is a good thing. It was bulk, now it is individualized. Very good. But what is the problem? One, people don't know about how it works. Parents do not know. What was the idea? Instead of getting money bulk to every university, we sit in the budget committee and say this one, you see, and we don't have data. Now they're saying it will be per student, it will go with the student. So when the student gets their letter, they get the total fee they should pay. And then they are told, if you apply through here, you will be graded on your vulnerability, and some of it will be paid by the government, a large chunk. Very good. But let's get to doing that. Once the politics has said that, you must leave it to technical people who will sit on computers, who will sit on the table and make sure, one, the students can apply. Just the network that they need, just the telephones that they need, how that is responded to. People are not going to private universities because they have money. A lot of them say, I can squeeze. Because as it is now, there is no parent who knows how much they are supposed to pay. When we propose that, the problem is complex, from application, then grading these students, saying this is the money they need to do, then getting money from treasury, then whether it is going through education, dividing this other student per cost, and this is how they've been graded, and therefore this student doing art or this student doing medicine is going to do this much. Then you do it across all the universities that the kids have gone kid by kid, so that when they get a list, it goes to the university. A is in medicine, he is very vulnerable, he is paying this much. A is in medicine, less vulnerable, he is paying this much. So that is a complex work. Only technical people can do it, not people talking on TV. And that is where the problem is. I was at Masinde Muliro. I met a student from my constituency, said we were told to come, it will be sorted out. As of this now, we still don't know. We told told them in Parliament, we told the minister, if you are doing a new thing, there is a process of implementing it. Give time so that you can work out this thing until you have a list. And then the money will move from the university, from the treasury, it will go to the banks, and then to the various universities. A huge process. That is where the thing is not. As we are talking now, people who say they can afford, I can't take my child blankly, I don't know what I'm going to pay. People are still raising money. I know there is 80 billion, but they don't know how much they are going to get. They told me, Mheshimiwa, I don't know how much I'm going to pay. Let the child go with something. How can a child leave home, go to school, they don't know what they're going to pay? The money may be there. It is in the budget. We put it in the budget. It is like having guests, cooking good food, but you do not have a way of serving the food. So that is what is happening in what? In education.
So this fee is a moving target?
No, it's not a moving target. It's not moving. They have not worked out in details what each child is to get according to their three things. You have been graded very vulnerable, needy, and so on. As far as I know now, very few people have known how they are graded. So when you are leaving home to go to university, you are given a bulk of 240,000 shillings. Now, chances are you are going to pay very little or none, because you know the grading they have done, vulnerable 80% and so on. But you do not know. So the kids go there. So when we say we don't know, give them time to work this thing out, they say, let them go. There'll be a desk at the university. When they get to the university, they'll be sorted out. I told them last week, I was in Masinde Muliro, the kids are there, they do not know. Now, fewer kids are reporting, and what I know from them, those who say I can afford something, let me see if I can, because people are uncertain. What you started with, communication, technical, doing work.
All right, so what you're telling me is that they go there, they report, but they do not know what for this semester they're supposed to be paid.
They don't know.
So you just
because that thing has not been done.
So there's no fee structure that has been given.
The fee structure is there, but each student is going to pay differently depending on how they've been graded with the information they are put into the website on their family status. Now that process in my mind has not in my mind, practically has not worked. But so that the students are going
to understand you as well. You say the fee structure is where I'm assuming then the fee structure is not a one size fits all. So you can actually know what you're supposed to be paying.
No, we haven't got made the ball. Maybe
I am not following.
Yeah. What was before, as much as we said we will pay for students the differentiated unit cost. But actually what we did, we just sat in the budget and gave bulk to universities. Now what we said, we are paying this differentiated unit cost, it is per students. We are working out what the student needs depending on the course they are taking, right? But then now we are going to say, not all students are going to pay the same. We are going to actually get information when they apply through the website, and are they orphans, what are the parents earning, how is their family status, and using that information, we will then grade the students. Say, student A, you are going to pay this much out of this 240. Student B, you are going to pay this because you have been graded. That is where the problem is. So now, they are going to university, that has not been done. What is the problem? Technical work on the table after the policy has been agreed on.
Right.
Let me just finish. No, let me just finish. Now, you now come to health.
All right. Instead of now going...
because I want to demonstrate. They are not using technical people, and they are talking a lot on governance. Even if you go to health, we talk about health insurance, which is coming, which probably don't want to talk about. But even if we talked about KEMSA, you find that there are very good ideas how we are going to do this, but you don't see technical people coming out. Look, many years back and now, there are certain times about ministries that when you want the public to get information, get technical people endowed. If it is health, get the Director General. If it is education, get the Director of Education. Technical people who are going to tell the people what they can understand. Ministers and politicians have done the policy statement. They are finished. That is what is lacking. Why? Everything they want to see a political element, attribution. Now, if you go to the cost of living, it is the same. I want to demonstrate.
I don't want to
let me do this only. Let me go to economics. Let me go to economics. You listen to you listen to Ndi. You listen to
Ndi. On Ndi. Let's hear from.
Because I can demonstrate across.
You will demonstrate, but
up to the constitutional changes.
Yeah, for the sake of just a mental tracking of what we're discussing, so that at least we don't lose the point.
Everything is the same, it's the same problem.
Let's go seamlessly. So I want to hear from Dr. Makali.
Yeah, you know, Dibal, human beings are rational. Every human being is rational. They make decisions informed by the information they have. Now, when you look at what is happening in the universities, with the new model, the fees actually increase a lot, the total amount. So, anytime a student gets the calling letter, what we call the admission letter, they will be shown you are paying 450,000 for a medical course or for engineering course. Now, what is not clear out of that 450 is how much will be scholarship from the government, how much will be a loan, and how much will come to me from the parents. Now, the challenge we have been having as leaders, because we are elected and these people come to us, a parent would come to you and tell you, now, me, I can't get this kind of money. So on the basis of this, I will not even take my kid to the university. Now, you have to advise the parent that this money you see here, part of it will be paid by the government in terms of scholarship, there will be a loan, and then there will be a small portion will be paid. Now, when you unpack that for them, then they get the courage to take their students to the university. And I think that's the phase which the government didn't work well. What the government should have done is they should have taken some time to explain to the parents and the potential students what is going to happen. I think there was the delay in terms of now the admissions, in the application for loans and scholarships. Now, when you delay, then parents are not sure how much it will cost. And as I said earlier, what parents have done, they have gone to private universities and they have been able to compare the cost of education in a private university and the cost of education in a public university. Actually, to some extent, it's even cheaper to take your student to a private university. So what they have done is, assuming my son will not get a scholarship, he will get a loan. It means that I will be paying a higher amount to a public university as opposed to a private university. So I would rather take my son to a private university where I'm assured of about 2 to 3 issues. The first thing I'm assured of is my son is like to even complete the course in 3 years. They have now the two-semester arrangement where you do 3 semesters in a year. So while the public university will be taking 4 years, you are likely to get your son or daughter in 3 years through education. The other one is you are assured of the quality. Now with the public universities, what they are doing is there's marks for sex, there is marks for funny things which are coming out. So you find that even the quality, you are not sure of whether you get the. Then there has also been some lack in terms of, if you look at the supervision being given by lecturers. For those who are doing masters and PhDs, it takes so long to complete your course just because the supervisors are not as committed as those who are in the private university. So when you consider some of these things, then being a rational human being, you have to opt for private university. And that's why you see, when you read this story now, private universities are registering higher numbers in terms of enrollment than they registered last year when this new model was not there. And I think it's the work of the government to sit and ask themselves, education is a public good. Public goods are normally provided by the government. So we don't want a situation where we see people given a choice, they will choose a private university as opposed to a public university. Something must be wrong. And we need to get that now. What is wrong? We need to get it right. And I think it's now, so Sion being an expert in the education sector, that's why I say today's panel, I'm happy because this gentleman is an expert. I'm saying, can we listen to people like him who have been in the union movement for long, who has been agitating for teachers, because teachers, when you talk like the people who deliver, both teachers and lecturers. And then have other people who can now explain from the parents' perspective. And then with the student body, the leadership of the students, come to the table and agree what is the best way. I would want to see a situation where at the end of the day, that the first choice in terms of matters of education becomes a public institution. In my days and his days, and I'm usually in social, anybody who used to go to a private secondary school, well, that was a failure.
Yeah.
People who did well in exams
went to government schools.
Government schools. We want to see that situation where our top brains go to public institutions, and then those who might choose to go to a private university, you choose because maybe you are endowed with the resources and you don't mind paying, but not because it becomes your first choice. To me, that's what we are getting. And I don't want to make myself an expert in education matters, but I just wanted to share my thoughts, because I think once we miss that point that human beings are rational and they always choose where they think they'll get optimize their benefits, then we'll have a problem.
So, Sir, you admit there's no clarity that is coming from government.
We've got mixture of information and misunderstanding. Number one, the funding model was developed through intensive consultation, and this delayed even the process of admission of students to various universities. And after the admission was declared on the 2nd of August, that is when the process of applying for scholarships and loans commenced. It is ongoing, and the fact of the matter is the process of application was so slow. The students and the households applying for the process was indeed very slow.
So even there was an extension for...
There is one aspect that Professor Nyikal has talked about.
People are questioning.
If you don't apply, how can you be processed? That was a problem. And that is why the minister gave a clear directive that allow the students to report to the various universities where they've been admitted and open a desk where they can process the application. And this is not new. Through practices even in the past, sometimes even the loan and funding could delay, but that should not stop admission. And so we expect all the 140,000 students to have reported to the various universities. And through the universities, they should be able to ensure that they upload their data and apply for their respective loans. The difference here, what Makal is talking about, is that these are the category. Categorization will definitely lead to certain reaction. The category of those who are less vulnerable, practically parents from middle class and top class of the society, will definitely choose to move to private schools, private universities. But from the very vulnerable, the poor households will receive full scholarship and full funding from government. The technical aspects that Professor has talked about here, that we should allow the expert to process the entire thing. The expert here is the Higher Education Loans Board. The Higher Education Loans Board. The experts here are the universities. Get those students at the universities and get them on their computers to upload their data. Once that is done, and once the process is concluded, you will be surprised. Students will get full scholarship even on a declared. And you see, the most important thing is that unlike the global DUC, which was very general, you would see students joining universities, but you didn't know about the exact cost of every course in the university. Now the difference is that you must declare the fee structure to every student per course, per university. And that one is what is being bandied around, that the education is becoming too expensive. Now medicine at the University of Nairobi, which
there's no clarity, as has been raised also by Dr. Makali here.
No.
There is no clarity on it. There is ambiguity.
There will be clarity once the students fill in the application. And once the students put in the application, even those who have joined private universities, if they did it, the higher education loan process technical aspect.
But you need clarity before you make application.
No.
First of all, before I come to you, I just need
if that was to be concluded, Dibal, if that was to be concluded.
But time is of essence.
If we were going to allow the entire process to conclude itself, then admission to universities would have delayed to January.
But how do
and
I
that
plan as a
cannot
parent?
be delayed.
How do
and
I
there
plan?
is no reason whatsoever to delay reporting to universities simply because of a technical process that can be concluded while students report.
But
this is not the first time that is happening.
Just a moment. But
it has happened
if you
before.
dial back to this particular problem, if I'm a parent and I want to access finances, maybe I want even to get loan, then how do I even get information on what to really apply for a loan that I am not sure on what I'm really going to pay for? Because I want to go to the bank, and here I do not know how much now I should be paying for this particular
Now,
piece.
this is an instruction from government. Listen, this is an instruction from government. The government is telling you, stop going to the bank, stop doing those things, let the student report at the university, put in those application process, then they are processed. Once they are processed and scholarships declared and loans declared, then you will know the balance that the household will pay. And in fact, in average...
let me come to it.
Yes.
There's a point he doesn't understand.
Yes.
Let me tell you, everything, if at the point on the table it can't get a fork and a knife and cut the food, it doesn't matter how good the food is if it is in the kitchen. This promise is good, but what is failing, when a kid is leaving home to go to the university, the parent does not know how much the student is going to pay. Now, with that, as Makali said, those who think they can afford say, I would rather go where I'm sure. Now, even the information,
for planning purposes.
The information that is being gotten was supposed to be given through a website. You ask the student, I followed up to university, you ask the student, said, well, they're still using the information we gave. Now, the information was given when you were at home. You are still going to the university, the information has not been processed. Now there's a desk at the university, you are supposed to give this information
and you can't give new information.
Again.
If you give information at home, the information doesn't change.
Now, of course it doesn't change. But when you are sitting at this desk, what would be wrong if you said we are going to wait 2 months, delay, when you are having a very major change in your management? Sometimes you can even change the times of admissions. Further still, when this instruction was being given, a circular was being given to the universities that the students will come and will work out their money, as far as I know, there had been no consultation and sitting together with the universities and telling them that this is what's going to happen. You cannot run a country through circulars from political elites. That level is now left to the technical people who sit down with the universities. The university should have been as aware of this
from the minister,
yes,
responsible for education.
Yes,
that's not a political elite.
No, but I'll tell you.
Yes.
That is where you people go wrong, and I'll repeat it again and again. There is a level the politicians have made a policy. The politicians have given instructions. It is now left to technical people. The politician can now just come and announce the result of how the implementation is going on. As far as I know, we have even left one factor out, Dibal. It is the process of admission through the admission process, the COOPs now. Kids are getting courses they didn't apply for. Sometimes it is way out of what they wanted. They are going to universities they didn't apply for. Now, you have this, you have these uncertainties. One, the course you didn't apply for. Two, the university you applied to go to, you didn't get. Three, the amount of fees you are going to pay, you didn't get. Parents have asked me, when this child is leaving home, Daktari, Mheshimiwa, how much money do I give the child? I've just been told, go to the university, things will be sorted when you reach there. How does that work? So I'll repeat, they must stop looking at things politically. You are in power now, regardless how you get there.
Thank you.
Let the governance go on. And if we went to health, I'll demonstrate to you. But if we went to this thing of or even the water issues.
Yeah,
It's the same thing.
We'll come to the water issue.
Yeah.
So, Sosion, even as we're winding up on the matters academia, I wanted just to ask you the extension that was given also by the minister regarding the loan application, because people were not showing any flash of interest on this particular loan initiative that the government was giving out. So there was an extension. Was that also indicative that there is a problem on why people are not applying for these loans? That even now you have to set up a desk for people to go and apply for the loans?
You know,
at the university.
At the university.
Yes. You see.
And some don't have IDs.
Yeah, so what was the reason for the extension, first of all?
You see, to enable the students to apply, to fully apply.
Which they were not applying.
Which the process was slow. But at the time of admission, out of those expected 386,000, 170,000 had put in their application. And what it meant, if it was to wait for all the students to put in the application, then admission should have been deferred up to January. That could not be deferred because we must be consistent with the university calendar. And therefore, it was only prudent to give a reasonable option to urge and direct universities to admit all students unconditionally and process the applications from the university. If the students are at the universities, whether they had applied at home or they had not applied, it would be very easy to manage students case by case very effectively, so that issues to do with lapse of communication can be eliminated, issues to do with uncertainties can be eliminated. So really, the students can now, right now as we speak, all the students ought to be at their universities. And if there is any student who has woken up and is not very sure, there are desks currently at the universities. You can walk in, upload your data if there is new data, if you had not uploaded earlier on, and the option of staying within the universities has been directed to the university. So the students right now are free to attend classes and go on with their studies as the technical people process their scholarships and loans. And I think that is a reasonable option, because you see, you must allow time for that to be done, and it cannot be forced to be done overnight. And as I've said, if it was allowed to go on the way it was, then universities could have opened in January, or many students could not have reported, and even many could have remained within the confusions where parents are shopping in different aspects, trying to understand where to get the funding. Get the students at the universities, get them process the applications, and in due time, each student will know. And in fact, those who are eligible from the categorization.
Okay, as we're winding up, don't you think...
In fact, you will be surprised. They will be fully funded, and the poorest of the poorest and majority of the students who deserve funding will be fully funded, and to the extent that there will be no fundraisings anywhere in the country to fundraise for poor students who attend universities. This is a model that will work, and any change will always have teething problems. This one, the only problem is the challenge of time.
No, he doesn't just want us to put our points.
But the challenge of time.
The point is this: during that process of 2 weeks or so, when you are applying with all these hundreds of students, you are still applying. The university hasn't got money. How are you running the university with these students in
the transfer of money from treasury to universities on the basis of students' award of scholarships and loan is then administrated between treasury and the university. It has nothing to do with students.
This is
a guarantee.
This is their problem. They don't look at technical issues. Here you are students, and somebody saying you will get, you are given a guarantee.
No, you want to
during this process.
You want to provoke another conflict and confusion between universities.
No. During this time.
Here you are mistaken.
During this time.
Here you are giving misinformation.
No, it's not misinformation.
The usual transfer of money from treasury. The usual transfer of money from treasury to the universities has nothing to do with the student.
No, but this is the money they are going to the students.
That becomes an administrative between the treasury and the university, and that does not stop the student whatsoever.
On what basis is the transfer being done?
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
The only thing the students will
on what basis is the
transfer?
Thank you.
Has the money been dispersed?
Ask him.
I have no information as I
Absolutely.
sit with you at the moment. And even if money will be dispersed in January
or
in February or whatever time, the process that has been put in place protects and codifies the rights of the student to attend classes and study. That has been guaranteed.
How are the universities running at that time?
No, but Professor Nyikalia, you are trying to bring in unnecessary confusion.
No!
And you have said you want the technical process to take full effect. So then can we allow the technical process to go on until when that process
the last time
is
we checked,
that time where the student
process of disbursement
Thank you. I think the last time we checked, the Treasury, actually we had the minister was seeking some bailout of around 62 billion shillings for the universities. That now that should be written off. This is what he's asking.
Yes, this money has 62 billion. Let us not mix the current new model with the huge debts of 62 billion. And which is what...
But they're correlated because the issue of quality is being raised here.
The new
that you
model,
don't have sufficient funds to run the universities.
The new model is meant to salvage the universities from these debts. And as you can see, the funding has been enhanced from 54 to 84 billion.
Then why would you be seeking a bailout?
That does not instantly remove the 62 billion. And that is why there is room to negotiate that part of this 62 billion were KRA money, part of this 62 billion were probably NSSF, part of the unremitted statutory deductions. And so there is room to write off either through KRA or other bodies. So that's a different package of negotiation and it's a different conversation altogether. Because by the time this new model takes full effect, there will be no opportunity for any university to create debts. There will be no opportunity for university to run into financial crisis. This is the truth.
Thank you.
And this is the path that the government will walk. Like it or not, it will be done. And we will see our universities back on its feet. We'll see our children, regardless of the financial status and ability, attending university. Those who choose to attend private universities, fine. That is a matter of choice because they are capable of paying.
They are assured of quality, as they're saying, or as it's
capable
expressed.
of paying.
All right, let's see from Honorable, because I can see Honorable Makali also is flipped through the pages now. He's even reading the obituaries, right? But I want us now to focus briefly on the issue that is happening, especially with the water sector. Water sector, agriculture sector, and the academia. This is deemed to be, a spawning ground of corruption. And that's where now we are coming to because of the big tenders. So there is an issue of the Kameru Dam and some of its projects, and we've seen heads rolling. This is Karimeru, all right, the Ruiru 2 and also Kitui, Matu dams. There are projects that are being launched. The government now has actually indicated that almost 30 dams, they're trying to make sure they are being dug out right now. First of all, what is bedeviling the water sector, especially in light of this corruption, and why the MPs are joining on this water was in the first place? Because we have the CS appearing before legislators this week.
Okay, two quick ones.
I don't know what you've picked.
Dubal, this week was not a very good week for engineers. And basically, what has happened is, other than the road sector, in terms of funding, other than the road sector, the second sector which gets a lot of funding is the water sector. So you find in the water sector, you have a lot of very big projects in terms of budget. And it is these big budgets which attract a lot of interest, from both from the political class and even the contractors. So if there's an area where you get kind of cartels is actually the water sector. You have serious cartels in the water sector, where the contractors would conspire to do things not in line with the law. At the same time, politicians also have a lot of interest. There's also a lot of political influence and interest in the water sector. So as a result of that, you find that the way officers are normally appointed to these senior positions in the water ministry, mostly, the way the senior officials are appointed is informed by the political interests. In short, it is the corruption which informs most of the activities in the water sector. The way you do the budgeting, the way you do the contracting is so much behind the scenes. And I think that this is what now coming to the service, that people can see it. So what has happened, when you look at, when you read the stories about what is happening with these two engineers who have been suspended, the truth of the matter is they have been used to technically play with the technical specifications of the projects. As a result of that, then you have some allocated resources which can be diverted to other areas. Because once you change the technical specification of a project, automatically then you're likely to interfere with the costing and have some room to maneuver matters corruption. And basically that's what we're saying. The second issue is, now, you know, in a situation where you have CEOs who have been in an organization for a long time, over time they tend to entrench themselves into the system and they start kind of developing some kingdoms that they have their own network within the system, all the way from the messenger, supplier, accountant, supplies officer. You find they have a lineup where they used to do these kind of things. And that's why you see at some point, there was a thinking that the minister was actually protecting the CEO, and the PS at the same time is also coming in. You know what normally happens when a new PS comes to a ministry, because of normally of the corruption interest in quotes, they would also want to have their team, wherever they are, they want to have their teams in all these parastatals. So that when they make a call from the headquarters, they know I'm talking to so and so, and then you can get instructions on what to do. So this sector, because of the huge budgets which we always push to them, because of Kenya, water is a very critical thing, more so my area, we want a lot of water. So anybody, when we talk about water, we say water is life. So anytime you say want to push more water, money to water as a government, you see people get interested in that government. But in the process of pushing that much resources to the water sector, then at the same time you also open doors for corruption. To me, what is bedefiling the water sector is corruption. If we are able to do with the corruption in that sector, we'll streamline the thing and things will work as they are. That's why you see all these dams being mentioned. There are dams worth billions of shillings. This water project, but the Matu one is billions of shillings. The Ruilu 2, billions of shillings. So there is so much money, and people want to dip their figure into that huge budget. That's the problem.
All right. Nikali, you wanted to talk about it as well.
My same concept, governance. As Honorable Makalia said, these technical people are being used. Back to my position. Let the professionals work. But let's say the professionals themselves have a problem, like of corruption, which we know is there. When now you have a difference between a PS and a minister, that is a very high level difference that must be sorted out at political level. But then when you have the head of the civil service coming in to act directly, you ask yourself, what happens at cabinet? You would have thought that these issues, principal issues that are being seen, that CEOs and PSS are probably working together and excluding the ministers. If these are the issues, and we're having many of them, these are the issues that you discuss at cabinet, and the cabinet will decide. You don't see publicly a head of civil service seem to be going against a minister. That is something that should have been sorted at cabinet level without coming to the public. So I'm saying people are running around talking good, talking well, looking at the future, they're still campaigning, but the actual governance is a problem. Corruption you will start with good governance, following structures. Then you pick out people who are working outside these structures. So a war between a minister, or a difference between a minister and the head of civil service, brings you to how is the cabinet working. Well, the government put structures differently, but ordinarily you would expect that the head of the civil service is probably the secretary to the cabinet, or sits in the cabinet and knows what is happening. And then would you normally be the head of the permanent secretaries, so that he knows this is what the cabinet passed, we want it done like this, and he passes it on strictly to the principal secretaries, because the ministers themselves were in that cabinet. So you see a structural problem, which now brings me back to my question: stop the siasa, look at the structures and start governing.
Right. Okay. And we wanted just to tease out, we'll take a short break, but when we circle back, we'll look at also what is happening with the Kenyatta University referral and teaching hospital. Is it looking at the legal notice number 4 of 2019 that where everyone, together with the Attorney General, is leaning on it, saying that it was established as a parastatal, and therefore the Kenyatta University itself cannot and does not have the wherewithal of running that particular university. So we want to actually look at the politics around Kenyatta University Referral Hospital itself and the battles in. We saw also the towing and froing, exiting of the Vice Chancellor, reinstated against by the courts. The land that also is the biggest political catnip issue regarding KU as well. We'll look at that and how it's affecting the running of its institution itself. Are there politics? Are there interests? We are a country of interests. We'll take a short break.